Yes, to start.
Okay, I think we're ready. So just remember, please, to keep your microphone muted except when you're speaking. If you want to speak, you can click somewhere that waves a hand to us, or else you can just unmute your microphone. And just a word about using Pali terms, because some of our members here today are not familiar with Pali terms, so please explain, give an explanation or translation if you're using Pali terms. That's about it. Thanks for all your birthday wishes that I've received, and let's get on with the meeting.
I have a question, John. So we need to unmute the microphone all the time, or we keep like it is?
You keep it like it is, except when you want to speak.
Okay, so I say nothing, but I don't unmute my microphone every time or mute. So simply I keep the microphone as it is, yeah?
No, you keep it muted, please. Keep it on mute.
On mute.
Yeah, except
So
when you're ready to speak.
So I supposed to be on mute, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Right. And Jan, would you like to say anything at the start?
Hello, Alan.
The line is not clear.
Not clear. Okay, Nina, would you like to start saying anything? We can't hear you, Nina.
Nina, turn on your microphone. You unmuted. Mute it. Oh, now good.
Okay, start again. Yes.
I found last time the example of life before and after Corona.
Nina, we've lost you again, please. Please unmute your microphone again, please, Nina.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I found the example of life before and after Corona very useful because it is a good example between thinking of stories and direct experience of realities, of like seeing and hearing. They are realities. Seeing is always seeing, hearing is always hearing. And it is good to be reminded, because when we are absorbed in the story, we keep on forgetting. And I find that all of your remarks last time were very useful. Like Maeve said, ignorance is useful because you realize how much ignorance there is. Before we started the teaching, we did not realize this. And like Tren reminded us that patience is so important, because we like to understand everything immediately, but this is not possible. So all of your remarks are really useful. They remind us of realities, and I'm really looking forward to hear about them. If you have many remarks, very good. Like Ellen had questions about details. When we see, after seeing straight away, there are the intoxicants. We did not realize at all that just after seeing now, after hearing now, there is already ignorance coming in, or a wrong view, very subtle. And we don't notice them because they are so subtle. So it is very good to know our amount of ignorance.
Thank you, Nina. That ignorance is now. Anne, were you about to say something?
Yeah, I was going to just tell Nina how much I appreciated her, golly, they were very detailed summaries of the discussion last week. I hadn't been able to hear it at the time, and I'm sure others on DSG who aren't listening will find it very useful. Your notes were beautifully done, and I got a good sense of what the discussion was. So thank you, Nina.
Can I say something to Nina?
Yes, please.
Nina, yeah. Because Nina, you know, besides the realities, I think it's something like a Dana, Shila, Bhavana. It's also Kusala, yeah. So let's say something, you know, because I know you, I know the group and everything, you know. But what's the point to just hear the Dhamma or teach the Dhamma? You know, this is like a big thing, like what is the Dhamma Dana is the best, yeah. But what's the point? Like this other thing, we can help people, you know. So what's the point only to listen to Dhamma, you know? I mean, like there is Dana, Sila, and Bhavana, you know, so 3 of them. My question is, or anything that besides the realities, there is also conventional life, yeah? And this conventional life, like coronavirus, whatever, we can help others or not. Or someone needs help, you know, maybe. That's my question, you know.
Can you speak more slowly? Because you speak so fast.
I'm
But
so sorry.
you emphasize conventional life, the importance.
And help others or help someone, you know, if needs help, like even offering Dana. Buddha, sorry, I will speaking slowly. Buddha said a lot about the Dana itself, Dana. So it means like giving away or giving to someone. So I would not speak about Dhamma if someone is hungry, for example, you know, and have, you know, that's the question.
About giving, your question
Yeah,
is...
Dana, yeah.
Yeah. So it depends all on the citta at this or that moment, whether there is generosity or whether there are some other ideas of like to gain something or approve of something. So citta is really complicated and very detailed. And the Buddha helped us, explained us all the subtle points and the details of citta.
Okay.
So the more we study, it is really helpful for our daily life, also what we call conventional life. But it is important to know the difference that there is reality now, like seeing and hearing and thinking, because we often forget that. We get totally absorbed in stories.
Different levels of kusala, right? So dana is one level.
I don't want to speak about kusala. I just want to know about the dana. Dana is what is this? Giving away or giving to someone, or if anyone needs help, it's to getting, yeah? I just simply want to know how it's in life, kusala, you know, and dana.
Kusala.
Dana.
It helps to know, first of all, about kusala and akusala also. What is wholesome and unwholesome? Because dana is one kind of wholesome.
Of course.
As Nina said, it depends on the consciousness, not the act or the deed. So we don't learn about doing this or doing that. We learn about what is...
Can I interrupt you, John, at that point? Can I interrupt you? Sorry. I know, but don't you think this is higher Dhamma? I mean simple Dhamma, simple, not higher. Like Dana, offering something, you know, helping someone else. Dana, yeah? I don't want to discuss higher Dhamma, you know?
You're about to speak, I think.
Huh?
Are you trying to speak, Sundara? I can't hear you.
No, well, I was really, but I was thinking what, I was just listening really to what other people were saying. And I think that Nina's point is so valuable because, yes, even though we might not be talking about simple dana, if we can call dana simple, because I don't think it is, but we might refer to that as simple dana. But the dharma of understanding supports all levels of kusala, and that's what I believe Nina was saying in her own way. The more we understand realities now, as Nina would always remind us, the more that can support all the other levels of kusala, be it dana, be it sila, be
That's
at
true.
so many different other levels of kusala. So the more understanding there is, the more it can support all levels of kusala.
Rit, were you trying to say something? Rit? Are you trying to speak, Rit?
Not yet.
Oh.
Did you hear me? I just want to listen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Sundra's made a good point, because without understanding, Lucas, how do we know what is dana? Like when we give a gift, like this morning, because it was Jonathan's birthday, so I made a gift, but so many different moments involved, moments of kindness, moments of attachment, moments of hoping that he'll be happy, moments of being pleased with one's gift or one's offering, so many different moments. So without understanding, we take it all for being wholesome when most of the time it's unwholesome. And we take it all for being my giving, my offering, my kindness, instead of understanding that they're just different realities arising and falling away that don't belong to anyone. This is the important point, that they are just different dharmas, different realities, not mine at all. So understanding what life is at this moment, understanding when it is wholesome and when it is unwholesome, understanding moments of seeing and hearing all as not self is most precious. And as Sundara said, it leads to more of all kinds of goodness with honesty and less ignorance that Nina started talking about.
Can I answer to you?
Hi, Zita.
Can I answer, Sarah?
Yes, Lucas.
No, Sarah, I understand that, but listen, I'm not at that level of understanding, as you say, yeah, to see Dhammas or even Anatta. I'm not good in that, and especially that I left Dhamma aside, you know, and I'm just trying to keep living, you know, now, you know. But my point is that I wonder, because even now, you know, it's like doing some simple deed, like offering someone a help, yeah, in any way. It doesn't need to be Dhamma. Like I'm going more into the earth, you know, so don't go into the some kind of Dhamma or higher Dhamma, you know. I'm just simply talking about like Dana, you know, to offer someone something, you know, or to receive, you know, I don't know. But I'm more simpler now, because I didn't study Dhamma for so long, you know, and that's it, you know.
Could Lucas, can I speak?
Yes,
Yes.
of course.
Yes. Could Lucas, when you, let's say you walk down the street, or when you want to help someone, would you tend to help a person in need?
Sometimes yes, but sometimes not, you know, it depends, you know.
Yes, and whatever the thing about Dhamma is that explains even in that wanting to give dana, that also is higher Dhamma. So it goes from the deepest level to the simplest level.
Yeah.
That even if at the moment that there's kindness for you to give to someone, that also is conditioned. There's no you. You can understand at that level.
Of course, but I cannot understand that, you know, at that time when I give, okay? So I'm saying it's not so simple, you know, to do that, you know.
Yes, it's not so simple. So for me, when I give, sometimes I give it for self with a lot of attachment too, and it's not to my understanding as well to actually see that. But it's
no, if you study the Dhamma, then it's okay. But I stopped studying maybe 2-3 years ago, you know, stopped studying Abhidhamma.
Yes, so but I think we can start to appreciate that even the little moment of kindness, sometimes at that moment, there's no self there. But then life goes on in different ways. Yes,
but okay, brother, okay, listen to me. Would you like to teach Dhamma someone or tell Dhamma to someone who is hungry? Would you like to do it?
I think it depends. If they are hungry and if you know that they cannot receive Dhamma, then there wouldn't be a case for teaching them, right? But if they are hungry, you give to the person what they are in need of.
That's what I mean, like simple thing, yeah? First.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have to set any rule, Lucas, or can we say each moment depends on conditions? Like if we go out in the street and we see someone is hungry, each moment, whether one makes an offering or not at that moment, each moment of seeing is conditioned, each moment of thinking is conditioned, each moment of kindness is conditioned. Like now, who knows who will suddenly start answering your question or making a comment, and who knows whether it's out of kindness or different motives at different moments. So each moment is conditioned, like now. So at this moment now, is there kindness now? If it arises, it's by conditions, not by setting a rule.
Okay. No, but Sarah, listen, because you know me, and I lack of what you say, the Dhamma, you know, it's the understanding, you know.
So what about now? What is Dhamma now? Because you say you lack of Dhamma, but there is Dhamma, there is reality now. So what about now? Is there seeing now or kindness now, or what about reality now? It always has to come back to this moment.
Supposed to be seeing and hearing, yeah.
Is there seeing and hearing now, or just supposed
to? Yeah, I see you, yeah.
So
but I don't understand
there's
that.
hearing
this
now.
is the point, you know.
Yeah. So there can be understanding now. If we're thinking about, well, what is the motive when we give to the person who's hungry in the street? It's thinking about a story. It's not understanding life at this moment.
Okay, yeah, I understand, yeah. But I wonder if this is all right to just like, for example, don't give anyone, you know, to someone, you know, that needs. Because, you know.
The question earlier was if I see someone hungry, do I give him something to eat or I
yeah, that's it.
Explain Dhamma to him. Well, obviously, it depends.
Yeah, I know.
Depends on the circumstances. There's no rule.
Yes, John, I understand you, but for me, I don't understand now what is Dhamma, really. I don't understand.
Well,
I didn't study.
That's the same for all of us. We all lack understanding. We all have a lot of ignorance. So that's why.
No, but at least you study Dhamma, I don't. So this is the difference, yeah?
Yeah.
Because I stopped studying so long, you know?
Actually, you've heard a lot of Dhamma in the past, Lucas.
Yeah, and hearing doesn't mean to understand, yeah?
If you've forgotten it, it'll come back fairly quickly when we proceed with the discussion.
The main point, it has to be now. It has to be this moment. So thinking now is Dhamma, seeing now, ignorance now, whatever arises now is Dhamma, and it falls away instantly. It doesn't belong to me or you or anyone. So no matter it's kindness now or attachment now, it's just reality that arises and falls away, never to return. So instead of thinking about the realities in another situation in 2 hours' time or yesterday, what about now?
Okay. Sarah, thank you, John, for explanation, everyone. You know, I think I need to start studying Dhamma first, you know, because I'm not ready for the discussion now, seriously. So I just turn off for now, maybe under question, okay? Thank you.
Okay. Nice talking to you,
Alan,
Lucas.
do you have anything you'd like to say to Lucas?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
We've lost you, Alan. Maybe a frozen screen, frozen. How about Maeve? I just saw your... Maybe a little bit later, Alan. Maeve, did you have something you'd like to add?
Can you hear me?
Yes. We can hear you, Maeve.
You're good.
Well, listening to Lucas, it prompted me to think about whether the development of understanding proceeds in the same way,
คนนี้สวยกับ
all
นางแบบ
beings.
การไอ้ที่ตัวหุ่น
Now,
ที่เขา
I know that
ขาย
that's going to be conditional
ชื่อ
on
นะ
all sorts of circumstances and what arises and who one encounters, you know, far too many conditions to enumerate. But in terms of the actual progression of understanding, if we compared it to, say, the development of a child, that all children,
ขนาดที่เรียกอยู่ไม่ได้ฟังมากเขายังเข้าใจกันเยอะ
because of the nature of their human condition, develop along similar lines. You know, they may get sick, they may die, all of that, but in
พา
general,
ไปถึงเราเล่น
there's
เลย
I suppose it's like a pattern of development. And so I was, in listening to Lucas, I was wondering whether you know, the encounter with a particular type of approach to the Dhamma, which may be through Abhidhamma or, you know, another form of study,
ยืนทางก็ยังไม่ทิ้งเลย
does
ศึก
it
ษาไปอดทน
in as time goes by, does it actually promote a certain development of understanding? I'm sorry, this is rather long-winded, but I'm trying to think the question out as I ask it. It's like, you know, once the seed of Dharma has been planted, does it flourish eventually? That's the essence of the question.
It depends on conditions.
So the question would then be, the nature of those. We must, I suppose, accept a certain pattern of conditions in order to invoke the interest that you were talking about last week, Jonathan. Yeah. That the interest in the Dhamma is a strong motivator to pursue. What would you say were other elements of that pattern that encourages the understanding to flourish?
Well, there can be interest in different ways. One can be more academically inclined, for example, and therefore the interest will go a certain way. One can be poor and uneducated even, and the interest will then develop in a certain way, but not in quite the same way as the case of the person who's academically inclined. Beyond that, I don't know that one can make any more generalization. But of course, for each individual, a lot depends on who they meet in a given lifetime, circumstances into which they're born, as well as their own accumulated tendencies, some of which will manifest more in one life than another, because it's such a long process that probably, you know, every person goes through these different types, as it were, at certain stages anyway. So I don't know that one can generalize more than that.
There has to be a lot of reflecting and considering and understanding, so that only when that understanding is really firm and begins to condition direct understanding of realities, is there going to be more and more understanding. But in the beginning, if it's not firm, or like Lucas says, one forgets about it for a while and doesn't give it any thought and just follows other interests, then it's not being nurtured. So that understanding needs a lot of nurturing, and that's the point of having discussions or reading or considering, because one forgets that it's about life at this moment. One thinks in long stories about what will I do if I meet the beggar in the street and so on. But what about the understanding now? One needs the reminders, no matter whether it's through discussion or reading or listening, to keep reflecting and considering about the purpose and about how life is just a matter of these different realities which are anatta, not self at this moment.
Yes, I agree.
Because there's so much ignorance, as you were saying last week,
yes,
that covers up all the time.
And I suppose the value of, well, I suppose it can be listening, not even without interaction, but just listening to the Dhamma being discussed. It seems to me to promote a different way of addressing doubts that arise. And I could hear Lucas expressing a range of doubts about study and remembering, and I think that is very common for, well, maybe I shouldn't generalize, but certainly myself. You know, there are times when there is a lot of confidence, and there are other times when there's not. And hearing the Dhamma discussed, I think, is a great way to address that, to give us access to another perspective, or yes. So,
and I think also the Buddha said, and Ajahn often makes the point too, that in discussion one actually has one's ideas or one's reflection questioned. Otherwise, just on one's own listening or just reading the text on one's own, one might think it's all clear, and one might think that one is understanding, but only when that understanding is questioned. What does it mean? What do you mean by that? Or what about at this moment? Does it really become clear that maybe it's not understood? So I think the questioning is also helpful.
Thank you.
Can I say something, Sarah?
Yes, Vincent, hi.
Hello. Lucas, I'll just quickly share a quick thought. You talk about simple dana. At the moment of dana, it must be beautiful, right? Must be beautiful, Jatasika.
Yes,
so there must be alopa there.
Yes.
So I guess when you say if it's not simple, there is panya there. That's so-called not simple. So the difference would be one could be paramis, right? Or which one is better? Usually people want to have panya, but we cannot control that. So on the other hand, why do we want to just restrict ourselves to the one without panya? They are all by conditions, right?
It's supposed to be, yeah. But sorry, Vincent, yes, I just want to say something because I heard Maeve saying, yeah, it's not a doubt about, no, Maeve says that it's about, that this is like in my case or whatever, it's a doubt, yeah, about studying. And in my case, it's not a doubt about studying, simply not studying thing, you know, is different to have a doubt while studying and not studying at all, you know. There is no doubt then, you know, because you don't study, you know, things like Dhamma. Thank you.
Perhaps I'd like to add that, Lucas, good to meet you too. I've never met you before, so good to see you. Ajahn always stressed the incredible value of patience. We can't, and Jonathan talked about conditions a moment ago. We need to be incredibly patient. And I don't think that's, which itself is conditioned. Everything is conditioned. We have this idea that we want it to happen quickly, or we want to understand this or that just when we like. It can't be like that. That's not Dhamma, and that's not being respectful to Dhamma. We need to be very, very patient, listen very carefully, consider very carefully. And the more we're able to do that, to listen, consider carefully, then there can be more conditions. Then there can be more conditions for understanding, but we can't hurry up Dhamma. That's just the nature of things. You can't make Dhamma or understanding grow when you like. It will happen by its own set of conditions.
Hello, can you hear me, Sarah?
Yes, we can hear you now, Alan. Try again. Yes. Alan? Oops, we've lost you again. Try muting and unmuting again, Alan. Okay. Maybe try turning off your video, Alan, see if that makes it better.
May I say something?
No, we've lost you, Alan.
อาจารย์เชิญเลยครับ ถ้าอาจารย์ like to speak something
Okay, Alan, try again.
ไม่เป็นไรค่ะคุณวรศักดิ์
ครับ
Jan, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Have you got anything you would like to add to Lucas?
Yeah, may I say something about
please.
About Maeve's question about how can one know how much there is a development of right understanding? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I think that we don't have to ask anyone, but the daily life is a question or examination for whether to understand that how much that is the understanding of Dhamma, because Dhamma is not in the book. No matter what word we talk about, like seeing right now, it's now, hearing right now, thinking right now. So instead of thinking about how much the development of understanding is there, it is the movement of whatever appears and the accumulation of right understanding can have condition to arise to understand. No expectation at all. When, for example, right now, we learned a lot, we read a lot, but the understanding of reality is different from the understanding from book. But now from book, we understand theoretically that there's no one. But how can this moment be no self or not me or no one? It depends on conditions, because the point, the absolute truth is Arya Satya, nothing at all to be taken for self, because at this moment, those who have enlightened understand the arising and falling away, not I at all. So the point is that how much the understanding of daily life can be understood as not me at this moment of seeing, instead of thinking about many cetasikas arising and this one falls away and the other one follows. It's not like that, but it's the understanding of the nature, the characteristic of that which now experiencing that which appears. So we can understand better and better actually how full is there accumulated, not to understand anything naturally in today, from today at all. So the point is that from hearing, there can be the considering of what appears, and then that is panya, which knows that the understanding is not understanding the words about citta and tirasika, because they are now, but it can condition the understanding of no me, no self at all. So no matter how much we learn from the book, if it can bring the understanding, the nature of that which appears now, it means that it develops very little, very gradually, because one has to be truthful, Satya Parami, to know how much understanding of the characteristic of realities as not self right now. Oh, and no regret, and we don't have to think about how little or how much, but the understanding is there, whether it's conditioned, and at that moment, that should be or that would be the understanding of that as not me, who begins to understand reality right then as that which can experience is different from that which cannot experience. Is it clear enough, the sound? My voice,
Very
is it
clear,
clear
Ajahn.
enough?
Yeah.
Or it's not clear?
Good.
Very clear, Ajahn. Thank you.
Oh,
Very clear.
good.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Shut the
Thank
fuck
you.
up.
Thank you.
Is there any other question about right now?
Lucas, did you have anything? You said you had a question you'd like to
No,
ask.
no, this is for later. I have a question now for the discussion to Ajahn, Tanajan. Tanajan, if I may ask you one thing, because as you know, I don't study Dhamma for a long time. I've got my problem in life, yes, just let's put it into one thing. My main question is, because you said now about the realities, yes, but it's like to one who wants to understand. And I suppose not to be here because I don't study Dhamma at all. I forgot it some years ago. And my question is how to come back to study, to get that interest again, you know, this is my question.
Yeah, it's always I. But don't forget the second Riya Satya, Lopa. It's very difficult to know or to understand where it is, but it's there. After seeing, hearing, smelling, aswa, kamaswa, avishaswa, and titaswa. So it's all around. Only the light of understanding can begin to understanding what is there in the words of the Buddha, which help one to understand that what can be understood is this very moment as it is, as the self, as that which experiences the soul. Even right now, everyone sees it's that which cannot that the seeing experience, and we don't have to name it seeing, but visible object appears to what? To the moment of seeing, which is conditioned, and it's gone. Everything, any moment, the accumulation of understanding from hearing again and again, conditioned moment of understanding. In the beginning, it just begin to think about it, not clearly understand the reality which experiences all the time, no matter seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, just like what it Buddha taught or from his enlightenment. But as long as conditions are not enough yet, it's impossible to really penetrate the truth of it. But it begins to develop, not forgetting this morning. When we study Dhamma, not forgetting this moment, but it's not like desire or attachment, but it's the understanding that it has to be this moment only, which is gone all the time. So without the understanding of this moment, how can what the Buddha taught could be clear that actually from life to life, actually there's no one, no self at all. So that can be the beginning of understanding where is the desire, attachment, and the idea of self. It's all around. So the understanding that they are anatta, cannot be controlled, begin to become less and less, just very, very little comparing to the accumulation from life in years and years ago. So this is just very few moments of touching it lightly, not really touch it with understanding from the highly developed panya. But this is that we talk about all the time. Open the book and talk about it. Citta and Cittasika, they are now. So this is the intellectual understanding which will condition moment of it begins to not forgetful of that which is now appearing by conditions, only by conditions. If you forget about condition and uncontrollable and no self, wanting is there all the time. Like you just want to come back to study. See, it's that which is not known as not me because it has been accumulated from life to life so long before it can be understood as it is, as that which led us to the wrong way because it is attached to the circle of life and death, to Nama and Rupa now. But right understanding can begin to understand, to see it as it is. At moment of understanding it, it becomes just a little less and less. I don't know whether you hear me clearly or what I said is clear
I
enough.
heard very clearly, me at least, you know. So thank you, Ajahn. Thank you.
Very clear.
So now the examination, the exam we are taking now at moment of hearing, seeing, thinking, talking. But it's just like that because what is conditioned to arise just arises and falls away, never to return, just one by one from time to time. But the Sankarakanda performs the function, all Cetasikas arising and performing the function, not I. Chitta performs its function. The leader, the chief of experiencing, it says that clearly that is its function only. But Cetasikas, the Vedana Khanda is there unknown as Adama. Sanya is there unknown. All Sankara Khandas unknown because it's the function of understanding, developing from right attention to consider and not forget. But no one can force it or make it arise not to be forgetful. But it time come to be when there are conditions enough. By conditions only. Life goes on by conditions each moment. Whether it is ignorance or understanding, little by little, at different levels. Is it clear?
Very
This
clear.
voice,
I want to ask, yes, Jeff. Jeff is a friend of ours in America, and he hasn't met you, but he's been listening for some time. Do you have anything you would like to ask or mention to Ajahn, Jeff?
If the point is not clear, let's make it the point of considering and talking about it.
Anything not clear, Jeff?
No, it's clear to me. A lot of times I think similar to Lucas, the way he was talking earlier, like when you're talking about you meet somebody in the street and they're hungry. What do you do? And my understanding, maybe if I explain my understanding, maybe there can be some clarification or some additions. But many times we would give the person something to eat because they're hungry, but it's not always wholesome. You might be giving it could be wholesome, unwholesome, or neutral. You know, we might like, okay, here's some food, go away, leave me alone, which would be kind of neutral. Or there could even be like you give the person some food, you give them something to eat, but you're giving it to them with the idea of, I'm a good person. Look at me. I'm such a good person. I'm giving this hungry person something to eat, which would be lobha, which is not wholesome. But if you just give it to them with kindness, you don't care if anybody notices. It's just...
Jeff, can I interrupt for one word? I understand that. I've heard
Go
that
ahead.
many times, but just tell you one thing. At least you gave this person, food, he's hungry, and he's not hungry anymore, you know? So you help him. It doesn't matter your chitta, the person is full, okay? Sorry, just interrupt.
Let's see if Ajahn would like to reply. Ajahn, do you have anything you would like to say to Lucas and Jeff about this point?
I think that no matter it's time for give or not giving at all, by conditions, the point is not whether I should or not, but the study of the teachings is like the reminder to think that no matter what is there, not by anyone's control, but by conditions. See, to learn to understand conditions and not so from time to time by conditions, this is the most difficult because no matter that person is so great in his wisdom in this way or that way, but he cannot understand this movement as not so. So the point is that it's so worthwhile to begin to think that the most important thing in life is not just hearing about there's no self, but this moment, not me. So it's what? So in order to have less clinging to the self, less clinging, it means lopa, because the path of the Buddha all the way is to develop right understanding, to become less and less attachment to samsara. So it's not a matter of whether we give or not, but even when there is giving, lopa for it. The word in the Pitaka says that whatever one gets, it comes with lopa, attachment. See, no matter it is kusala, metta, it's done, it's attachment is there. Whatever one get, one thing that one receive or one get, it comes with lopa. See, so each word of the Buddha be reminded to think that no matter how long time ago we think about lopa and not lopa, giving and so on, but it's because of I. It's the unseen, especially attachment cannot be seen at all because it's the course or the core or the roots of life, from life to life. That's why the point is that, okay, at that moment there's no giving, but it's not me. If there is the moment trying to change it, it's I again all the time. So the point is that Panya can understand no matter it is kusala and akusala as not me, not self. Otherwise, one will cling and live in samsara to be good all the time or something like that without understanding actually not controllable. Nothing can be controlled. To give or not to give, it's not me. That's why Buddha said that don't regret or think about the past and the future, because the past has gone, never to be object of understanding anymore, and the future hasn't come yet. What about right understanding of whatever appears as now, as he taught about no self, that which experience and that which cannot experience in one's life? Only these two realities arising by conditions and then gone. It's just like a dream. Want to be good in this life and give, and next life. No, not remember anything at all about the past. And even in this life, that is gone, cannot come back to be object of understanding. So it has to be just right then by conditions. And we cannot force satipatthana to arise. But panya can understand satipatthana and not satipatthana only when satipatthana arises. If satipatthana does not arise yet, no matter it's said in the book, it is the development of understanding that it's not me because it's sati, so each word is not me. Even satipatthana, it's just a reality which is different from other reality, and it arises with kusala moment or sopana citta, no matter kusala or vipaka or kriya, but not me. So the point at moment of understanding or listening, even right now, not I, can be planted from hearing and understanding little by little. That's why if there is no listening to Dhamma, with seeing the value of it, one neglects and one cannot see the value of just understanding only a moment. Because without that moment, there cannot be next moment. This is like the food for thought, the food for panya. Only when there's the right considering of what is heard, not me. So we don't mind how long, 20 years, 100 years, or how many lives. It depends on the understanding of, it has to be understanding of no self, of whatever appears from life to life. And so we need the words of the Buddha. Even whatever one gets, one got it together with Lopa. It's there. Who says from morning, opening one's eyes up to late in the, at night while one will go asleep. See, It's hidden all the time. That's why only Panya can see it as that which is a Pajya for samsara, when it's not appear as it is, as not self. So even Loka is not self. How long and how great Panya is developed to understand that at any moment, uncontrollable, unexpected. That is the way of anatta. From the first word, Dhamma, Dhamma is not self, it is anatta. So keep on the understanding that no one, no matter in this life, there's no one, no me. What is born has gone. What happened yesterday, completely gone. And even right now. And when it's the truth, Panya only Panya which can penetrate the truth, but not I, but the right understanding from hearing, understanding that which is not self as it is, as that which just experiences, or that which cannot experience, and they're gone. So where am I? And this is the intellectual understanding which will lead to understand just one characteristic of a reality at a time. By then, one knows the difference between hearing and understanding a reality at a time. But don't forget that Vichikichanusaya can be eradicated only at moment of sota patimaka. So Panya can see all realities that one takes for self, Vichikicha and Lopa and attachment and anger and everything as just different realities, beginning to understand the difference between no self and self, wrong understanding and right understanding. Not me, see? I don't know whether it's clear.
Very clear, Ajahn. I just want to ask some of the Vietnamese, like Nam and his little brother Noon, whether you have any questions you would like to ask Ajahn or any of the other Vietnamese. Are you there, Nam? Maybe not anymore.
Okay, it's just nearly 12 and people wait for me. So I will listen. But I think that I'll have lunch now. Okay? Bye-bye.
Oh, don't go.
Please stay, Ajahn.
Stay. Who has a question?
Someone was trying to ask when I see.
Hello, Ajahn.
Yes.
Hello, John. Everybody, can you hear me?
Yes, that's Hong.
It's Hương from Perth. I would like to ask Ajahn about Ayatana. What is Ayatana? Because I read in the email from Sarah and Lucas discussion about Ayatana. They talk about different Ayatana because Lucas very sure about he will listen in Ajahn talk from 2005 or 2008 about Ayatana is the meeting places. But Sarah think about talk about Ayatana meaning is associated Dhamma. So I can feel what does that mean Ayatana. I would like to ask Ajahn for make sure what I understand right or wrong. Could you could you write a question about Ayatana that you listen from the Ajahn, please?
Okay, very shortly. Is that seeing right now? Is that seeing right now?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. What are there at moment of seeing? Not only seeing, not just seeing yourself, right? So what are there at moment of seeing? Just a moment of seeing. What are there?
A moment of seeing.
Seeing. And what are there? without seeing, is just does seeing
the
arise
moment of
alone,
seeing,
or what are
what
there
are
together
there?
at that very moment?
Visible object.
Okay, two. Without visible object, can they be seeing?
No.
So the ayatana means the meeting point at moment of seeing. There are many realities there as ayatana because they were there. You cannot get rid of it. It's there already, and that is ayatana. What are there at each moment is ayatana. So there is rupayatana, manayatana, no, excuse me, chakhayatana, right?
Yes, yes.
What are there? Must be ayatana because you cannot get rid of it. It's already there. They arises and they are there by conditions to condition just a moment. So we learn to understand it's not me because no one can control it. No one can make it to be like that, but they are there by conditions.
And Hong, besides seeing and the visible objects that's seen, so seeing is the ayatana, visible object is the ayatana. What other realities are there at that moment, at this moment, besides seeing visible objects?
Sarah, I understand what do you mean, but I still can feel like the Lucas, because look at the thing you say about ayatana is associated.
Yes, because at the moment of seeing, it has to see what is visible. So all these realities associate together at that moment. Besides seeing and besides visible object, what else is there? There has to be eye sense, which the visible object has impinged on. So it's also ayatana, which meets or associates at that moment. And there also have to be the cetasikas, the mental factors that arise with seeing. So all these realities are now meeting or associating together. Each one is ayatana. This is what ayatana is. It's now, seeing now, visible object now, eye sense now, memory now, contact now, all coming together or associating at this moment, like the balancing on the needle point and then gone. So this is ayatana. It's just the realities that come together at this very moment.
I appreciated what Ajahn just said then, because she immediately brought the question of ayatana to the present moment, because she talked about chakhayatana, which is what you're referring to, Sarah, as that's eye sense, or chakupasada. And then she talked about visual object, which is rupayatana. So she immediately brought it back to the present moment. And I think that's always such a valuable reminder.
There's no point talking about ayatanas unless we talk about this moment, like this moment of seeing now. So it doesn't matter whether we don't have to use the word ayatana. It doesn't matter what word is used, but it's referring to those realities arising together at this moment. Without eye sense, there couldn't be seeing at this moment. Without visible object to be seen, there couldn't be seeing. Without contact and attention and the other mental factors, there couldn't be seeing. So it's the coming together, the realities at this very moment. That's what ayatana is all about.
That ayatana is just another way of describing conditioned dhammas or referring to conditioned dhammas. It's a collective term, but it refers to the fact that at any given moment, certain dhammas are meeting or associating and others are not. And it's those that are meeting or associating that are can be referred to as ayatanas, but it refers to conditioned dhammas.
Reminder, Jan, that Hong is Australian Vietnamese friend who joined us in Sri Lanka, who you met before.
I understand about Ayatana, about this is a Dhamma. This is a Dhamma. Only one eye sense, Chakku Vinyana can say the Ayatana, but there are many different Dhamma, like visible object, eye sense, fasa at the time to contact the visible object. And many Cetacika are like 7 Cetacika. Only I don't know how to say. Only very everything one time happen or just one time very quickly, like lightning. But I still confused when I heard the meaning of the association. I think I still confuse the meaning
It just
of
means
when
it just
they
means
translated the association.
It just means the meeting of these different dharmas. So when we refer to ayatana, it's referring to the meeting. That's why it mentions meeting point. It's the meeting of these dharmas at that moment, at the moment of seeing. There has to be the meeting of seeing with the visible object that's seen, that's impinged on the eye sense, and there have to be the mental factors. It doesn't matter what word you use, but it just refers to how at that moment seeing cannot arise without these other realities. So that's why it talks about the inner and the outer ayatanas, the coming together, the meeting, the associating of these different realities for a moment. Jan, would you like to add anything more?
Not today, please. Yeah.
You can also just at the
I think
same
Jan's
มันต้องลอกคราบก่อนแล้วมันถึงจะมีปีกนะมันไม่มีปีก
เอาไปแล้วนะ
ว่าเพราะตรงนี้ไม่มีปีกค่ะ
Are you trying to speak, Jan?
มันลอกค่ะอย่างเงี้ยค่ะแต่มีปีกขยับได้ตอนนี้ยังร้องไม่ได้หนวดมันก็ลอก
She's gone.
ตลกมั้ยล่ะ
So Sarah, hello Sarah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, hello.
So Sarah, at the Iyantana, is that at the meeting point? Is there the meeting place?
Yes, it's the same. So whether you call it meeting point or meeting place, it just refers to how each of those realities, for example, at the moment of seeing, is meeting point, is the Dharma which associates with those other realities at that moment. And they give the example of the balancing on the pinhead, because at that moment of seeing, there has to be that coming together of seeing which sees that visible object that's impinged on eye sense, and there have to be the mental factors. So some of these realities are referred to as inner
so it sounds
ayatanas
like
and
to
some
me
as outer ones.
So
Hello.
it sounds like to me it's like Pexa. Pexa? Is that you call Pexa? Fasa or PH? Fasa, yeah. It's like contact. You know, like contact.
เราจะปิดของเราไม่ให้เขาได้ยินนะ
So compassa contact is one of the mental factors that arises with seeing. So all those mental factors that arise with seeing, they are also ayatana at that moment, because they cannot be seeing without phassa contact and without
ผมมิวไมค์อาจารย์ไว้ครับ เขาจะ
attention
ได้ไม่ได้
and
ยิน
so
เสียงท่าน
on.
อาจารย์
So they all
แต่
have
ถ้าอาจารย์
to
จะคุย
come
ท่านอาจารย์
together
ก็
at that moment.
ก็
That's
ส่ง
all.
เสียงได้ครับ
So they are Ayatana. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Sarah, could you say they all have to arise at that same moment?
Well, the visible object and the eye sense have already arisen, but they have to come to, that's why I mentioned come together or associate. They have to have arisen so that there can be the association at that very moment. If the visible object and eye sense haven't already arisen, then it's impossible for seeing to see the visible object.
Yes, because that rupa's last, what is the equivalent? 7 moments.
They have to have arisen to condition the seeing to see at that moment.
Yeah.
Ganga in Germany, do you have anything to say?
Hello, it's Azita here.
Oh, hi, Azita.
I have a question on the 4 foundations of mindfulness. The first one being body, citta, feelings, and then I think it's investigation of states. Can you explain the last one, please? What is investigation of states?
I just check if Ajahn is there first. Ajahn, are you still there? Would you like to answer?
I think Ajahn went for lunch. I think
I
I heard
could say that, yeah.
Yeah. Or Nina, would you like to reply first?
The question was investigation of states.
Yes, Nina.
Object of what is it?
The foundations of mindfulness, the 4 foundations of mindfulness.
Yeah.
The first one being body, citta, feelings, and then investigation of states. And I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah, all realities that were not included in the first 3 are in the last one about Dhammas. So it is about the khandhas and the many complicated, but in fact it is all realities which are there. But we don't have to think so much about those 4. It only means that it is the reality at this moment, and we may forget. We may make it more complicated. And that is all of the 4 applications of mindfulness. It is one of the 2 conditions for sati and panya. The first one is the firm remembrance of all we hear and learned, the sanya or remembrance. And the second one is the 4 satipatthanas. And that also means all that is real at this moment.
Right.
So they are, Azita, they are the foundations because they are the objects of mindfulness. They are the realities that can be the object of mindfulness. So the 4th one is usually just translated as Dhammas, not investigation of, because that's something different, sometimes has a different meaning. So body or rupa, citta or consciousness, vedana or feeling, and the 4th one is all Dhammas, those that aren't included, and also those that have already been mentioned, because all Dhammas, any Dhamma.
Okay, that's clear. Thank you. And I must say what Ajahn was saying before was very, very precious. It's wonderful to hear her voice.
Yes.
Thank you.
Nave, you were trying to say something. Sorry, I think we interrupted. Nave, were you trying to say something?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I have to say something, can I?
Can you tell us who you are, please?
Can I say something to Azita? Can I say?
Yes, yes.
No, but Azita say lovely voice of Ajahn Suji, of course. So don't get Azita too much attached, you know, because I know Ajahn Suji have a very nice voice, you know. She's supposed to sing songs, you know. Okay, we talk about hearing and everything, so I'm saying to Azita, you know, not to get too much attached to that, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a good reminder, Lucas, too, because even at this moment, even listening to Ajahn speaking about Dharma, there can be attachment instantly
I know.
bound to be there. So it's good and
so what's the difference if someone meditates?
Moment.
What's the difference if someone meditates? You know, this is also attachment if someone meditates. The same.
Well, that's another big topic.
Yeah.
Anyway, Lucas, thank you for the reminder.
Yeah, okay, welcome.
Sarah, can you hear me? No?
Yes, good.
Oh, well, you can hear me because I've got a question. Just if I can you see that? What's meant by the middle way in terms of this moment? Can you hear that?
Yes.
Yes. Got it.
Oh.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Alan. Yeah.
Okay,
So
good. Thanks.
At a moment of understanding, seeing now, understanding attachment now, it is the middle way. It is the right path, the right understanding of that reality is not self. That is the middle way.
Why is it called the middle way?
Because no wrong view at that moment of any kind. So it's a moment of understanding reality is not self.
Okay.
It's not asceticism and it's not indulgence in unwholesome mind states.
So it's a kind of another way of saying any moment of life, the middle way. So it's even if you're listening to music, the middle way can arise.
Any moment of right understanding of reality, any moment of understanding of the path is middle way.
Right.
So the intellectual.
I've lost you there. I can't hear you. Sorry. It's my internet. Oh yeah, I just got the end of it. Yeah. Yeah.
The intellectual understanding now about different dharmas, about different realities that make up life now, leads to the middle way, which is the development of satipatthana, the direct understanding of realities now.
When we have this idea of place or situation. So we go shopping, we're in the forest or whatever, but that's really, I think I heard Ajahn saying that that's taking realities for self, because there's no difference in terms of realities, is there? Because hardness is hardness, whether you're in a busy Oxford Street or in the forest. So when we think in terms of a situation, it's not the middle way.
And that's why when Lucas asked the question, when he said, oh, I've gone away from the Dharma and I want to come back to the Dharma, and how can I? And she said, that's the idea of I, that's the idea of self. It's not the middle way when one's thinking, well, how can I get more understanding? Should I go to the forest? Should I go to the meditation center? Because it's not the understanding of seeing now, of ayatana now, of reality now at this very moment. If it's not the understanding of reality now, it cannot lead to the middle way. It leads to more idea of I can do. How can I have more understanding? Which place shall I go to? That is not the middle way. It has to be this moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I understand. Okay. Happy birthday, by the way, Jonathan, if I didn't get that to you.
Thanks for those in Europe for getting up so early.
It's bright now. It's really bright here. So yeah, it's a good opportunity to not waste the day. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And we have very nice weather, you know.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yes, can I raise my question?
Yes, nice to see you, Sun.
Yes, in some of a couple of weeks, our Vietnamese friends study and discuss about the Vinaya. And when the hearing the Vinaya, we see the very detailed situation and very detailed the conduct of the for the monk, like don't see only see in the eyes the see in the ground, only the 2 mat, not look around, something like it. And on the I want to ask a general question is, can you share the how to why reflection and how to why approaching when we listen, when we learn Vinaya to to know more the Dhamma and to know more to the reality now? Because in general, when we reading in the text, it's some maybe the law or the rule of the way of the action. And but I think we must to the deepest meaning of Vinaya is must be to know the quality of the consciousness and the wholesome and unwholesome. And I want to raise a question to get your point to about the how, what is why reflection, why consideration when we learn or when we hear is the Vinaya on the Tipitaka.
Very good questions, yes. So for example, in this example of not looking with one's eyes downcast if one is a monk walking along, it doesn't mean that it's just the physical action that one is following. Otherwise, it's like the answer, Lucas, about I again. It has to be, because one can look down and not look around with attachment. So it's not walking with one's eyes downcast with attachment. That would not be what the Buddha is talking about. It has to be with understanding, and with understanding of realities at that moment, whilst not looking around with one's eyes downcast. So it has to be kusala citta and understanding. Otherwise, it's not the middle way.
I find
Nina
Vinaya,
would like to.
yeah, Vinaya is so useful also for lay people, because it speaks about so many occasions for attachment to sense objects. It's not that we have to follow rules, but to know the citta, like decorating one's dwelling, is not allowed. But it is good to know when we are decorating our house, we don't have to force ourselves not to, but it's good to know the citta, this attachment, and all these different examples are very useful also for lay people.
I think it's a very deep and subtle point that you raised, Sun, because people think that it's just a matter of following the rules. But if it was so simple, it wouldn't be the Buddha's teachings. So it has to be following the rules with understanding of dhammas as anatta.
I think also the Buddha was reminding the monks essentially of the second noble truth, that there is attachment, and it's really important to understand that as it is, and don't go, no, well, not necessarily don't go, but to remind them that to run after objects is creating more problems.
And it is all about the middle way. That is the middle way. Not forcing, but understanding.
Yeah, that's true, Nina. It's a reminder. I think so many of these rules are reminders about dhammas and the many different subtle levels of the dhamma. So when the monk is walking along, he's meant to have, I think it's given a plowshare in front of him. He or she will be mindful of what he is doing in the conventional sense of those terms, so that there can be more conditions, so there can be conditions for sati and panya, rather than just more and more attachment, which is so easy to arise.
Well, wise consideration always refers to kusala, wholesome consciousness. So the question of what is wise consideration when doing this or doing that doesn't really have an answer. It just means kusala citta. And the kusala citta could be either dana, sila, that is generosity or restraint from unwholesome conduct, or it could be a kind of mental development, such as development of calm or the development of insight. But it's not a particular way of thinking about or thinking about what one is doing. It's just a way of referring to wholesome mind state. And there's no way we can say how that happens because it's conditioned.
And that's why I appreciate so much Ajah's constant reminder that the development of understanding has to be very natural in daily life. Not trying to change anything, change one's lifestyle, but only understanding this moment.
Right. So if one is trying to keep one's eyes directly ahead and not look around, that is not going to be an instance of wise consideration, because it'll be unnatural. But for the monk, it's a rule that he's supposed to follow.
Yes, thank you. It's clear to me, and it's something I want to raise. Okay, thank you.
Good.
Good to see you. And Carmen, you've been here since the beginning, and I don't think we've met. And I wonder if you have anything you would like to ask or mention. Where are you, Carmen? Are you in Asia? Or
No,
America?
I'm in Amsterdam.
Amsterdam.
I'm at Amsterdam.
Okay,
yes,
good.
yes.
Good.
No, I'm gratefully listening. Actually, Nina
Great.
invited us, and it's really insightful. Thank you.
Okay,
if
nice
I have
to
a
see
question,
you.
I will ask.
Good. Nice to meet you. Yes, I just noticed you joined early, and so very glad to meet you. Yes.
Thank you.
Sarah, can I ask a question? Yeah, Sarah, can you hear me?
Go
All right?
ahead. Yes, yes, you're clear.
Okay. Yeah. Well, what in terms of so realities of the present moment? Then, what does it mean to take refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha? Because this is an expression that we hear quite a lot of. What does it actually mean in terms of realities?
So, if there is no understanding of reality of life now, no understanding of seeing, no understanding of hearing now, can there be even the beginning of the way, the beginning of the middle path, or the beginning of taking refuge in the Buddha's qualities or the teachings that he gave, or in those who have followed the path? So it has to come back to moment again, to understanding now. That is what leads to the taking refuge. Otherwise, if one just goes to a temple and kneels down and pays respect, but without any understanding, there cannot be even the beginning of taking refuge. But it has to be with understanding.
So taking refuge means you're going to a place of what you're going to safety by listening to and considering the teachings. That's what is meant by just going to refuge.
It's only the understanding which leads to the end of the cycle of birth and death can actually be any kind of refuge. Nothing else in life can be a refuge. So the more understanding develops, the greater the appreciation of the qualities of the Buddha and his wisdom, and of the teachings about realities and the real refuge. can be known.
I think, Alan, we could say that going for refuge means the same as appreciating the value of something. So we know that conditioned dhammas, that the dhammas that we take for the world at the present moment, are momentary realities only. They arise and fall away. They're impermanent. They are not a refuge of any kind. They have no intrinsic value. Whereas the teaching of the Buddha does have intrinsic value, because it is the understanding of that is the only way to escape from the world as we know it at the moment.
So it's at the first noble truth, and that the disadvantage of conditioned realities is understood, that they're not a refuge. Really, that's it's the understanding that each moment arises and falls away in an instant.
As a result, so how can seeing, how can visible object, how can even great generosity be any refuge, because it's just the reality that arises, falls away.
And I would add to that, Alan, too.
Unsatisfactory.
And I would add to that, Alan, it's going for refuge in the truth. Like, there's no refuge in ignorance, which is the opposite of truth. That's what real refuge is. And Ajahn and Sarah and Jonathan are always reminding us about the truth of the present moment. So we're going for refuge to the truth. Anything else is not a refuge.
Yeah.
Sundara. Noticing there's 5 minutes remaining only for the session. So if anyone wants to come in with anything they've been thinking about raising or asking or commenting on,
anyone who hasn't spoken,
anyone who hasn't spoken,
like our friend Derek, or anyone else.
I want to ask a question about the Dhamma paramita at the moment of offering sometimes to someone. There are details which think about the benefits and happiness. But the moment of attachment about self or the object are unavoidable, so is that actually a development of Dhamma paramita or not?
Okay, very good question. Is that Nam speaking?
No, I'm Nguyen.
Nguyen. Wow, your English is so good now, Nguyen.
Yeah.
Very good indeed. So it's a very difficult question you've brought up. So we talk about the development of the paramis, the different perfections that develop together with understanding. So if there is no understanding of seeing as not self, hearing as not self, kindness as not self, generosity as not self, then there cannot be the development of the paramis or paramitas that you call them, the perfections. So they have to develop. The kindness has to develop with understanding. At the beginning, Lucas asked about kindness, but if it's kindness without any understanding that it's not Nguyen's kindness or not Sarah's kindness, it cannot be parami. So they develop with understanding the truth that Sundara just mentioned.
And if I could just add a couple of words, because you asked about a particular situation. And in any given situation, there can be moments of wholesome mind states and moments of unwholesome ones too, following one after the other, or intermingled. So it's only the wholesome ones that we can say are any kind of parami. And they're only parami if there is also some level of understanding that is accompanied. So we can't characterize the act as being either this or that, but different moments can be development of parami, and other moments will be either just wholesome without panya, without understanding, or will be unwholesome.
And Nguyen, I know you're only 10 years old, I think. Is there any parami now? That's homework. You can think about it.
Thanks for having a question ready again this time, Nguyen. It's great to have a question each week.
And I hope Nam can help explain the answers and discuss it a little bit more with you.
Yes.
And next time you can tell me whether there is any parami now.
I really appreciate this discussion because it helps us to understand more of the value of the Dhamma and what is happening right now. And although Nguyen doesn't understand most of the discussion, but still he enjoys listening to you and he really likes it.
It's very happy to have you both, and you're a very good older brother to him, Nam. And I will just mention to everyone else, when we first met Nam a few years ago in Vietnam, you didn't speak any English, and Nam and Nguyen have just learned English in order to be able to listen to English Dhamma. So we appreciate your efforts. See you next week, Nam and Nguyen, with another question.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me,
Thank
Sala.
you. And
Ajahn, are you there?
May I talk a little about taking refuge?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Before hearing the words of the Buddha at all, who knows about now has not served. That's why we take refuge, because without him there cannot be the understanding at all. That's why at moment of understanding the words of the Buddha, one takes refuge, because one knows that no one at all can condition right understanding, which hasn't been planted before. So at moment of understanding the teachings, the word of the Buddha, even just one word, with understanding, it is a moment of taking refuge to the Buddha and the Dhamma as well. Okay. So now, who doesn't take refuge? No one, because we are not listening to the words and begin to understand, which hasn't been understood before at all, from one reality to another, until all appear as no me, not self at all. Little by little. Only that. Is there any question?
Derek, did you have some? Are you trying to ask a question?
No, just to say thank you. I look forward to the next one, and happy birthday to John.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, birthday greetings.
Do you have any follow-up questions, John?
Anything more on refuge, Alan, to John?
Pardon?
No, I appreciate what Ajahn said. I really appreciate that. Yeah,
yes,
it's very good.
Because at any moment there is understanding. No one can help us or can condition right understanding of whatever appears. That's why one takes refuge more and more to understand his words. It doesn't mean just follow words, but it's the moment of understanding and being gratitude to the person who had developed parami so much, so great for us just to hear the truth of whatever appears.
So we take refuge from what? From the from conditioned realities which are suffering.
From whose word?
From the Buddha's words.
So we take refuge to the Buddha because of the understanding of Dhamma, and because seeing nothing is better than understanding the truth from life to life. Because it's there all the time and not being known all the time without his word. So consider his word carefully. He just pointed out to this very moment, anytime, any moment, because each moment is gone. So whatever is there to understand is because of understanding of what he said. No one can understand by oneself at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And the ultimate refuge then is Nibbana.
Oh, from his word.
From his words, yes.
From his word, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not easy at all. This is to be remembered because it's so unknown from life to life, uncountable life. So just how many times we heard about his teachings comparing to that which has been accumulated in life before years and years ago. Uncountable life. That's why the truth of his word will bring more understanding, and it can condition moment of direct understanding, because realizing that nothing else at all in life, only this moment from moment to moment without understanding. So if there is a way to understand, should we not understand?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You said once about we are attached to what arises. So realities arises like sound arises, and we are attached immediately to that
Yes.
sound by conditions. But Nibbana doesn't arise and
Yes.
cannot be the object of attachment.
Yeah. Can it be known with attachment? Attachment can be attached to everything except Lokuttara-Dhamma. It's beyond, because it cannot experience it. How can it is attached to? The way to experience reality, the way to know that there is attachment which hinder the understanding of that which arises and falls away. Because of aswa, after seeing 3 moments later, there are aswa 7 moments. See, unknown, because it's so very, very, very subtle. But this word, one understands that even right now, there is, as long as there's not understanding of that which appears, is there. The aswa all the time. That's why another word for arahata is those who do not have aswa. It means that no anusya, because anusya is there all the time. So the understanding can gradually eliminate anusya until the tidasava and vicikicchasava are completely eradicated from whatever appears now and then, anything in life. Without attachment, just want to know this. Oh, how can I know that? No idea at that at all. No idea about that at all, because of understanding no self, no one. Even thinking right then is not self.
Mm-hmm. So by experiencing Nibbana, attachment is eliminated.
No, can you not Panya, can you experience Nibbana?
Panya experiences Nibbana.
And what level of Panya which can experience Nibbana?
A lot. High.
What about the Vipassana Jnana? See,
yeah.
how many are there, and which one experience Nibbana? Which level?
Yes.
See, and what about just the first Vipassana Jnana now? Yeah, no idea at all, as long as the Satipatthana that's not developed yet.
Yes.
And not enough. Yeah. So just leave that, because otherwise Lopa is there. The second noble truth should be object of Panya, because only Panya can experience all four Ariya Satya. Not other reality can do.
Yeah. Okay.
As long as this moment is not understood from very little at a time until it's so clear, which is different from this moment, because it has to be what is called vipassana, enlightened. See, but when there is the idea of I do, it's wrong. See, I is there all the time, very deeply rooted.
Yes, yes.
Understanding just from moment to moment, it's the way to eliminate avijja and attachment and vicikiccha.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Ajahn.
So it's just about now all the time, because that's gone is gone, and that which hasn't come yet hasn't come yet. Don't mind about whether which one is experienced now, because no matter which, it's there, arising and falling away.
Mm-hmm.
Are you taking refuge?
Am I what? Sorry, I missed that.
Are you taking refuge now?
To some extent, yes. Yes, for sure. Because I'm listening and considering what is being said.
No doubt about taking refuge anymore. At moment of understanding, no self.
Uh-huh.
And Ajahn, he also asked about the middle way, and I mentioned it's also the moment of understanding now has to be the middle way, not anything else other than understanding now.
Okay. Is there any way now? Or no way at all? What we are walking from moment to moment? But where are we going from moment to moment too? See, there is a way. What way? The way to how, or the way to what, or the way to understand. It means that as long as there is middle way, there must be the other ways as well. And this one only is the middle way. So without understanding, nothing can be middle way at all. Middle way means that at that moment there is no attachment, no aversion. Different ways with attachment, the way with aversion. So at that moment of right understanding of that which without attachment and aversion, panya is there. Otherwise, avijja and asava and other kilesa is there.
And this is the only way to understand what is ayatana or anything at all, only by understanding reality now at this moment. Otherwise, it's just book knowledge that is forgotten and doesn't make any sense.
The way is to consider the words of the Buddha and begin to walk on his way, to understand whatever appears. Consider his words about no self, no one. And if there is still, I would like to understand this, or I'm attached, I just really want to understand. That is not the middle way. So even learning, hearing the teachings, when it's middle way, it means that that will lead to more understanding, which will have less and less attachment and kilesa.
Alberto, did you want to say anything to Ajahn before we go? Hear me, Alberto?
Yeah, hi everybody. Hello, Ajahn. Yeah, I was thinking about taking refuge and going for refuge, and maybe it's not so much as taking or going anywhere, but understanding and arriving there, like little by little, and every time, as you said, there is understanding of realities. Yes. Did you hear me?
Okay, bye-bye. I appreciate your understanding, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Ajahn. Thank you for joining the discussion.
And thank you thank you everyone, and we hope Ajahn and everyone else will be able to join us same time, same password, same everything next week.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, John.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Great way to spend a birthday.
ฮัลโหลครับท่านอาจารย์เสียงเป็นไงบ้างครับท่านอาจารย์ครับฮัลโหลท่านอาจารย์ได้ยินไหมครับอยากจะเช็คเสียงนะครับว่าเป็นยังไงบ้างครับท่านอาจารย์